Introduction to Go Cultivating Demons and Immortals in the Endless Sea. This book is also known as Immortal Sea. The Sea of Immortals is boundless. The sea demon dominates the endless sea, while the immortal lingers on the island and mountains. Zhang Liang, with his half-demon body, entered the sea as a demon and returned to the island as a human. In the realm of cultivation, Zhang Liang is just a lowly little fisherman. In the world of sea demons, Zhang Liang is the intellectual leader of the entire black fish tribe and is regarded as a peerless pride. Welcome to Bookmark. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The author is working hard to save the manuscript, and the babies they like will be collected and brought home first. We look forward to the future together. Chapter 1. Opening Cultivation of Immortal Small Fishermen and Farmers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The sea breeze howls and the waves rise and fall. The waves beat against a 10-foot-long solitary boat, causing waves of spray and water droplets to scatter in all directions. The solitary boat is scattered in all directions, vast and boundless, except for the surging tide that seems to be about to engulf it at any moment. On the lonely boat, a 16-year-old boy stood tall and straight, with straight features, dressed in a smooth waterproof outfit. Chi-la, suddenly, under the feet of the young man, a bundle of ropes the thickness of his thumb was pulled by a huge force and quickly plunged into the seawater. Finally shipped. Zhang Liang's face finally showed a hint of joy. I saw him holding onto the rope with one hand and feeling a tremendous force coming. It seemed like a green snake had let go from his wrist, coiling around the rope and quickly sinking into the sea. At the moment of touching the seawater, the green snake transformed into strands of blue light, scattered into a large net and quickly sank into the water. Get up. At the next moment, Zhang Liang let out a low shout and forcefully pulled the cable. With a loud clatter, a huge object broke through the water, which was a large red fish wrapped in a blue fishing net. This fish is bright red in color, with scales like leaves, shining brightly in the sunlight. Its two fins are like wings, and its tail is slender. Its appearance is truly extraordinary. Not good, it's the red-leafed sea bream. Zhang Liang's face suddenly changed, but he saw him immediately imprint with one hand, and a strand of green energy shot out from his fingertips and sank into the ship's hull. Immediately, patterns lit up on the solitary boat, followed by a burst of blue light that enveloped the entire small boat. Shio shio shio, I saw the red leaf snapper swaying its body in mid-air, accompanied by red leaf scales flying, and the blue net was suddenly torn open with dozens of holes. Dang 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 dang, the red leaf scales cut open the fishing net and hit the blue light barrier of the ship, making a piercing impact sound. Zhang Liang disregarded these red leaf scales and held a piece of talisman paper between his fingers. With a gentle wave, an electric arc as thick as his little finger instantly struck the body of the red leaf snapper, causing it to stiffen and die with a loud bang, before being dragged and smashed onto the ship by him. Damn it, it's a loss. As Zhang Liang muttered, he quickly picked up a small net from the boat and went to catch the red leaf scales that had fallen into the sea. Even if Zhang Liang was quick-witted, he could only catch less than half of it in time, which made him look depressed with anger. After salvaging the scales, Zhang Liang sat on the boat with a long sigh and murmured, a 1-meter-long red-leafed sea bream should be a lower-level ferocious beast. If its appearance is intact, it would be worth 10 spirit stones. Unfortunately, I haven't salvaged all of the most important red-leafed scales, probably only 7 or 8 spirit stones. When I encountered this thing, my green snake net was damaged again, and repairing it would cost at least 2 spirit stones. It also consumed a small thunder talisman, which is worth a spirit stone. In addition, I also have to pay the fish tax for 2 spirit stones. Joining a sea and fighting against fate, only earning 2 or 3 spirit stones. Well, Immortal Sea is not suitable for staying for a long time. Even in the closest coastal area, it is extremely dangerous. As long as you make a profit, just take it as soon as it improves. Zhang Liang sighed and immediately urged the small boat, with a hint of spiritual energy sinking into the hull, activating the hull pattern, causing the boat to sail rapidly towards the shore like a speedboat. Along the way, as the waves splashed on his face, Zhang Liang couldn't bear to activate the ship's defense formation again. The sea breeze met, and the sound of the wind howled in his ears. When Zhang Liang saw the shore of an island from afar, he couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief and secretly said that he had finally returned safely. However, Zhang Liang knew that he couldn't be careless and often ran in the Immortal Sea. How could he not capsize? I have been traveling for 3 years now, and I still have a heart of anxiety about this kind of life. Yes, Zhang Liang is a member of the crossing army. Speaking of which, his travels are also outrageous. In my past life, I couldn't afford to buy a toilet in the city even after working for 10 years. In my dreams, I wanted to get rich overnight. Taking advantage of his vacation at home, he bought a set of metal detectors and prepared to go to the seaside in his hometown to search for treasures and make a fortune overnight. Not to mention the result, as soon as the detector took action, it found a strange mirror. He looked at the mirror with an antique design and intricate carvings, and felt like he had found a treasure. He already thought about selling the mirror and getting rich. As a result, when he looked in the mirror, there was a roar in his mind, and the 3 words, "Mirror of the Realm God," came to mind. Then his head tilted and he inexplicably crossed over. When Zhang Liang opened his eyes again, he arrived at this vast and boundless world of cultivation, known as the Immortal Sea, and possessed a young man named Zhang Liang. This young man named Zhang Liang is a small fisherman on a low-level island called Qingfeng Island among the billions of islands in Xianhai. He relied on his inferior second-level spiritual roots and repeatedly went out to sea to fish, only to barely reach the 3rd level of qi cultivation, which can be considered as having some self-protection power. Zhang Liang sighed. When it comes to the cultivation world that others have traveled through, there is a sect at the beginning that can easily pick up a spiritual pet and have a beautiful nest of young senior sisters. As a result, at the beginning, there was a sea of water in all directions. If it weren't for gradually merging Zhang Liang's memories, I wouldn't even be able to find my way back to the island. As for the sect, don't think about it. The original mother was single for 17 years, and she only heard of the sect name Lingxian Palace. She has never seen anyone from this sect, let alone know that it is located in the southeast, northwest, and northwest. At this point, the French boat was about to dock, and Zhang Liang stopped at a coastal shipyard named Qingfeng, named after the island owner Qingfeng Taoist. It is said that this Qingfeng Taoist, who practiced qi in the later stage of cultivation, swept 6 immortal islands with 1 sword per person, which was terrifying for a while. This Qingfeng Island is one of the 6 immortal islands, and there is a first-level spiritual vein below the island, which is envious of the neighboring islands. Nowadays, the 6 island cultivators are united, gathering over 5 million mortals and over 1,000 fishermen and farmers, making them a group of big shots. Park the ship in an orderly manner. The dock manager saw the return of the boat, and a hint of a smile appeared on his face. As Zhang Liang approached, the steward smiled and said, "Zhang Liang's young friend is not bad at all. He is the red-leafed snapper. It seems that he has gained a lot from this trip." Zhang Liang smiled bitterly and said, "As for the property management, please don't praise me. For the sake of this red-leafed sea bream, my inferior magical tool, the green snake net, is broken and I even broke a small thunder talisman. It's a big loss." Sigh. You can't say that. It's a good thing to be able to return safely. Alright, let's talk less and return the boat first. I won't delay you from selling fish. As for the fish tax for this month, even if you have 3 spirit stones, are you giving them after selling them all or are you giving them now? The fish tax for 3 spirit stones. Zhang Liang's heart sank slightly. The island owner, Qingfeng Daoren, stipulated that all fishermen and farmers on the island must pay 2 spiritual stones in taxes every month. Ling stones are extremely rare. Apart from fishing at sea, they can only be obtained through various cultivation techniques such as alchemy, artifact refining, shipbuilding, formation refining, and talismanship making. However, the difficulty of cultivating immortals is no less than that of cultivating immortals themselves, so there are very few scholars who can learn it. Without a large number of spiritual stones in their hands, they cannot even learn fur, let alone earn spiritual stones from it. So, there are so many fishermen on the island, because going out to sea is the only way for the vast majority of fishermen to earn spiritual stones. But the risk of going out to sea is extremely high, and if one is careless, many people will perish in the Immortal Sea. On Qingfeng Island, at least 10 people die each year. So the spirit stones of fishermen are hard won, and are you really not afraid of being remembered by fishermen when it comes to housing management? The property manager immediately smiled and said, Zhang Liang, although the island owner is righteous and can borrow the Dharma boat for free, the maintenance of the Dharma boat cannot be borne by the island owner. Therefore, you should go out to sea more, accumulate some spiritual stones, and buy your own Dharma boat. Upon hearing these words, Zhang Liang's heart sank. The value of the Dharma boat was 50 spirit stones, and how could an ordinary fisherman obtain it? Furthermore, the French boat was originally an investment by the owner of Qingfeng Island and fishermen, and even if it was damaged, it was also a matter of Qingfeng dockyard. Good guy, seeing that I have caught the red leaf snapper, the steward of this room is saying that he will definitely snatch a spirit stone into his pocket. Zhang Liang remained respectful on the surface and said with a smile, the property management is right. Please wait for me to sell the red leaf bream first, and then pay the fish tax. It's still Zhang Liang who understands the reason. Go ahead. To make people perish, first let them expand. Zhang Liang held the red-leafed sea bream and sneered in his heart. The island owner only collected 2 spirit stones for fish tax. As a small steward, you took half of the island owner's income. I don't know who gave you the courage to do this. Go to the back of Qingfeng shipyard, which is the only Xiaoxianfang city on Qingfeng Island, but it is now covered by a blue halo. Zhang Liang held a fishbone token in his hand and reached in, only to see the blue light hole open, revealing a path in the halo. Qingfeng Xianfang actually has very few merchants, with only a few dozen in total. Zhang Liang came to the most central Lingxian Tower in the neighborhood with a familiar background. It is said that the Lingxian Tower industry is spread across thousands of islands, and behind it is the influence of the Lingxian Palace sect. It is from here that people learn the name of the Lingxian Palace. It is said that even the owner of Qingfeng Island dare not offend. Manager collect the fish. Zhang Liang carried the red leaf snapper and stepped into the Spirit Immortal Tower, shouting loudly. Immediately, I saw a chubby and kind shopkeeper laughing and jokingly saying, every time I sell fish, Yu reads books www.yuyukangshu.net, you're the one in the biggest battle. A red-leaf snapper just came over like this, and it's not a hassle. Zhang Liang smiled bitterly and said, there's nothing we can do. My storage bag is only half square, how can it hold such a big fish? You can show me, this red-leaf snapper has an excellent appearance. Oh, that's amazing. The scales have peeled off a lot. Obviously, you didn't expect it to be a red-leaf sea bream before it came out of the water. Otherwise, prepare a small thunder talisman to kill in advance, which is called excellent appearance. I don't even need to look closely at you. 7 spirit stones and 5 spirit coins are considered as my preferential treatment to you. Shopkeeper Hidei. So, I also want to buy a mid-level, green sword talisman, and a lower-level, guardian talisman. Shopkeeper he may be cheaper. Oh. The shopkeeper he looked at Zhang Liang and couldn't help but say, the first-level medium-grade green sword talisman is comparable to 3 small thunder talismans. I remember you only bought it a year ago, but have you already used it on this trip? Zhang Liang smiled bitterly again and said, no, on this trip to sea, I encountered a tentacled shrimp. Fortunately, I used the green sword talisman to force them back in time, otherwise I might have died in the Immortal Sea. Sigh. It's actually tentacle shrimp. That thing is not common near the sea. The more powerful one-whisker broken magic boat is truly terrifying. It's a lucky coincidence that you can come back safely. Zhang Liang sighed and said, that's not true, so no matter what, there must be talismans to protect one's life, otherwise we may not be so lucky next time. Manager, he nodded slightly and said, well, if I give you the talisman, I'll take you 3 spirit stones. Thank you, shopkeeper he. A few hours later, Zhang Liang repaired the Qingxi net and left Qingfeng Fang. After paying the fish tax, he suddenly realized that he had even posted 5 spirit coins upside down. Ah! I know it's difficult to cultivate immortals, but I didn't expect it to be so difficult. Sure enough, it's easier to cultivate demons. Chapter 2. Ultimate Heavenly Pride Black Fish Young Master. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Outside the Qingfengfang, the sunset is half setting, and the sea reflects the sunset, shining with golden light. Zhang Liang's body was light and agile, treading on the grass like flying, rushing towards a low mountain near the sea. After the low mountain, there is an 800-meter spiritual lake surrounded by abundant spiritual energy and towering vegetation. With Linghu Lake as the center and a radius of 10 miles, it is the residence of fishermen and farmers, known as the 10-mile Linghu Lake. In fact, the so-called dwelling place for cultivators is not as good as in the secular world, where they can easily deal with a thatched cottage, which is extremely dull. Zhang Liang returned and encountered many fishermen going out, so he naturally knew what these people were doing. He should have gone with them, but he is not available now. When I returned to my earthen house, I happened to see a young woman going out. When this woman saw Zhang Liang, she couldn't help but wonder, Zhang Liang, when the tide recedes later, aren't you the one who likes to try your luck the most? Why did you come back so early? This woman is Zhang Liang's neighbor, named Wang Min. She is 20.6 or 7 years old, with a slender figure and an ordinary appearance. She has 4 levels of qi cultivation and can already be considered a powerful character among the fishermen on Qingfeng Island. The so-called ebb tide refers to when the Xianhai tide recedes. Xiannong likes to pick up some seafood or hunt ordinary marine creatures such as hermit crabs or sandworms that cannot retreat in time. If you are lucky, you can still encounter the fierce beast green crab that hasn't had a chance to retreat. With the joint efforts of everyone, it can also be considered a good income. Miss Min, I just returned from going out to sea today. I am physically and mentally exhausted and need to rest in seclusion for a few days. As Wang Min said, Zhang Liang really enjoys taking chances because it's quite safe. It's not like going out to sea. Once you encounter a more powerful beast, it's over. But not today, he has more important things to do. Zhang Liang walked into his small courtyard, where there was a fence outside and an artificial small river inside. There were some spiritual insects in the river, mainly used as bait for fishing. Opening the house, there are 3 rooms on the left, middle, and right, namely the grocery room, cultivation room, and bedroom, which are not very distinctive. Zhang Liang waited at home for a while, and when there was no more sound nearby, he sat cross-legged in the living room. I saw him take a slight breath, lift his hand, palm facing upwards. With a movement of his mind, a simple and exquisite mirror floated in the palm of his hand. This is the divine mirror of the world that Zhang Liang found while exploring treasures by the seaside in his past life. Zhang Liang looked at the mirror of the realm god, and a black fish head suddenly appeared in the mirror. Zhang Liang's expression remained unchanged, as if he had already become accustomed to it. Brush, in the blink of an eye, there was no one inside the earthen house. Gudu, in an unknown sea area, a 2-meter-long black fish emerged from a corner coral reef in the underwater luminous coral reef group. The light around was dim, with a large number of noctilucent corals emitting colorful light. Occasionally, a small school of fish passed by. Upon discovering the black big fish, the school immediately turned and quickly fled. Ah! Although it's not the first time I've become a fish, every time I become a fish, it still feels strange. This black big fish is naturally Zhang Liang. He had originally crossed over and wanted to wear it back through the mirror of the realm god. As a result, looking in the mirror, there was a black fish head. Then he crossed over to the underwater world of the Immortal Sea twice and transformed into this black big fish. Afterwards, no matter how much Zhang Liang tried, he could only cross between black fish and fisherman Zhang Liang. Until now, Zhang Liang cannot determine whether he is a human or a fish, or whether he is both a human and a fish. The only thing that can be confirmed is that the results of black fish body cultivation will be directly synchronized with Zhang Liangren's form. At this point, a large blue fish with a body shape of 1/2 meter and barbs on its back is foraging among coral reefs. When he discovered Zhang Liang, he was also startled, and his first reaction was to flee. But soon he seemed to realize that by hiding in any hole in the coral reef, he could avoid Zhang Liang, so he didn't deliberately escape. Wow! Suddenly, Zhang Liang transformed a black fish and suddenly rushed out, with a speed as fast as a fleeting shadow passing through the seabed. The green fish immediately panicked and hid in the reef hole, which was the instinctive consciousness of Xianhai's survival. Bang! Unfortunately, the green fish underestimated Zhang Liang's determination and saw him crash into the coral reef, directly shattering it. Zhang Liang grinned grimly, Anyway, he felt like he was laughing and thought to himself that he was just an unremarkable ordinary green fish, wanting to escape from my mouth. Zhang Liang's black fins, like a blade, were cut into 2 pieces in the chaotic coral reef with a swipe on his side and a flash of cold light. Ah! It's strange that I found raw food exceptionally delicious after turning into fish. Zhang Liang thought that his fangs had already been exposed, and his sharp teeth were like serrations. With just a gentle bite, even the coral reef could be crushed. After a moment, there was only 1 fish head and 1 fish bone left. Zhang Liang doesn't think this kind of swallowing is indecent, because whether it's a ferocious beast or a sea demon, the starting point of cultivation is to eat. Big fish eat small fish eat shrimp, and all things grow, that's how it is. Over the past 3 years, Zhang Liang has also explored some patterns. The black fish can quickly improve his strength by eating other immortal sea creatures raw. He was originally just an immortal cultivator with 3 levels of chi training. And over the past 3 years, he struggled to become a part of his physical exercise by eating. Unlike chi cultivation, which is divided into 9 levels, there are relatively few practitioners in the cultivation realm. In each realm, body cultivation is only divided into 3 levels. Refining one body corresponds to the initial stage of chi cultivation. Refining the 9 elements corresponds to the later stage of the legendary golden elixir. Although he himself didn't know exactly what was going on, or perhaps the growth of the sea demon was already like this, it undoubtedly allowed him to discover a new and rapid promotion method, which was extremely simple. Zhang Liang had enough to eat and drink before leisurely swimming towards the depths of the luminous coral reef. Along the way, he saw a large number of ordinary marine creatures and black fish of his own size. Ordinary creatures at the bottom of the sea are busy every day, mostly for the sake of eating in one bite. But once promoted to a ferocious beast or become a sea monster, it's different. The so-called ferocious beast refers to a sea creature with relatively low spiritual intelligence but unique abilities, which has extremely strong aggression. It is numerous and scattered throughout the Immortal Sea. The so-called sea demon is greatly different from fierce beasts. Although the spiritual intelligence of low-level sea monsters is not high, they are much stronger than low-level ferocious beasts. A wise race is naturally much fewer than fierce beasts. According to my original memory, I rarely see sea monsters near Qingfeng Island, but Zhang Liang has never seen them. And Zhang Liang's identity at this moment is a sea demon, belonging to a sea demon tribe called the Black Fish Tribe. This Black Fish Tribe, like Zhang Liang, has over hundreds of thousands of black fish. At this moment, as Zhang Liang delved deeper into the coral reef, there were more and more black fish around him, seemingly converging somewhere. After swimming for about half an hour, Zhang Liang finally arrived at the depths of the coral reef, a vast vacuum zone. There are no coral reefs here, but there are buildings made of blue stones. Yes, although the building is simple, it is indeed a building. And there are many buildings, hundreds or even thousands, which have developed into a small town, which is the headquarters of the Black Fish tribe. At the forefront of this underwater small town is a square paved with bluestones. In the center of the square, there are thousands of fish men standing, and Zhang Liang prefers to call them black fish spirits. This so-called black fish spirit obviously wants to transform into a human form, but its evolution is not very complete. Some have a human upper body and a fish lower body. Some have fish in their upper body and humans in their lower body. A slightly better one, both up and down have become humanoid, but the fins have not yet transformed into arms. But the common characteristic of these fish people is that each one still has a fish head and none of them are serious like humans. Even the leading black fish spirit, named Haisha, is the chieftain of the black fish tribe. Its face has only 7 imaging faces, barely comparable to the extremely ugly generation among humans. At present, hundreds of thousands of black fish gather on the square, and black fish continue to swim in all directions. Zhang Liang's heart was stirred, as this was the ancestor worship ceremony of the black fish tribe. During this period, the divine power of our ancestors enveloped us, and all black fish present could observe. Every time, dozens of black fish transformed into black fish spirits. Once you become a black fish spirit, you can become a nobleman of the black fish tribe, have the qualification to live in Black Fish City, and learn the advanced secret techniques of the black fish tribe. This kind of ceremony is only held once a year in the black fish tribe, and once missed, one will have to wait for the next year. That's why Zhang Liang must travel here today. In fact, Zhang Liang only discovered a year ago that the black fish tribe had ancestral worship ceremonies. He was supposed to transform last year, but while observing the divine power of his ancestors, he discovered some clues, so he didn't rush to transform. I waited for about half an hour. There are over 200,000 black fish around, and the number of black fish coming from all directions is already very small. I saw the leader of the Black Evil clan carefully take out a fish-shaped jade seal and say in sea demon language, "Black Ancestor is above, bless our clan, divine power descends to the world, and lead us on the path of demons." Buzz, the next moment. A golden light rose up from the sky, like a huge projection. In the projection, there was a huge black fish with a flowing golden thread on its body. This golden thread is the technique operated by the ancestor black fish, known as the swallowing the sea technique. Black Shah snapped and said, "Black Fish Clan people, our ancestors had a mysterious divine body in complex and difficult to cultivate techniques. Don't rush, everyone, take your time. Zhang Conscience is right to say that this thing is mysterious, but it is too complex and difficult to repair." The last time he had already memorized this root of martial arts, he had already memorized it for 99%. Now, to consolidate it, it is exactly the same as in his memory, indicating that what he memorized is correct. What he needs to remember is not the operation of this cultivation method, but some patterns on the scales and armor beyond the operation of the black fish ancestor cultivation method. Fish all have scales. Last time when Zhang Liang was about to transform, he discovered these patterns and ended his transformation. In fact, this pattern is not difficult, it is more like symbols, imprinting scales and armor with spiritual energy, and the difficulty is not high. In just half a day, Zhang Liang branded all the runes. At that moment, Zhang Liang's mind resounded with a roar, only feeling that a force was born out of thin air from his body. He could even feel that under the influence of this force, his body was rapidly strengthening, until he felt a small bottleneck, which seemed to be the bottleneck of refining the body twice. How could it be possible? Zhang Liang was shocked. Although he had a fast speed in cultivating demons, he should still be quite a short distance away from the peak of refining his body. Unexpectedly, this power generated out of thin air pushed me directly to the pinnacle of refining my body. Unfortunately, just when he thought he was going to directly break through the second level of body refining, this power had already been exhausted. Subsequently, he discovered that countless runes on the scales appeared in his mind, interwoven and arranged, and finally, as if a babbling call had appeared from the depths of his soul. When Zhang Liang regained his senses, the rune unexpectedly transformed into an inheritance. The power of swallowing the sea, capable of swallowing all things for cultivation, and able to erase demon pills, demon elements, and demon bones. Claiming to swallow everything. As Zhang Liang regained his senses, he murmured to himself, as if he had mastered a powerful divine skill. However, swallowing everything is obviously a bit of nonsense. A first-order sea monster, why don't you try swallowing a second-order sea monster? Hold on to you. Black Ancestor appears, while Zhang Liang was still pondering the power of swallowing the sea, he suddenly heard the clan leader Haisha shouting loudly. He was still wondering what was going on, but as soon as he looked up, he found that hundreds of thousands of gazes were looking at him. What's going on? Zhang Liang had a bewildered expression on his face and saw the Black Evil clan chief rushing towards him with a group of relatively intact black fish spirits. Everyone stared at him in shock. Zhang Liang just lowered his head and suddenly realized that he had already transformed into a human. Moreover, his hands and feet were intact, his body was symmetrical, and he had no tail. He touched his face, his eyes, nose, mouth, and ears seemed normal. Wait, from the details of the body, isn't this your own humanoid body? Does this mean that both the humanoid body and the black fish body are your own and can be interchangeable? If that's the case, what about the demonic aura on the sea demon? After becoming a human, there seems to be no demonic aura on oneself. However, I saw Haisha looking at him with eager eyes, as if he was looking at treasures. He quickly grabbed Zhang Liang's hand and said, "Perfect transformation. Our tribe has given birth to Tianjiao, and finally our tribe has given birth to peerless Tianjiao." Ha ha ha. Zhang Liang looked at the crazy clan leader in front of him, as if the other party had not questioned him. Is there any demonic energy on me now? Zhang Liang didn't figure it out for a moment. Suddenly, I heard the Black Sha shout loudly, "The Black Fish tribe is under orders. From today on, Black Wind will be the young master of my Black Fish tribe, second only to me and the Black Fish wise man. Everyone pays homage to the young master." Zhang Liang. Chapter 3. Black Fish Secrets. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Farewell to Lord Haifeng. Zhang Liang had a bewildered expression on his face. He never dreamed that he would have such an encounter. You should know that he was just a sea monster in the early stage of the first level. Corresponding to Qi cultivation strength, there are only 3 levels of Qi cultivation. Can this also become the young master of this black fish tribe? Also, what the hell is the name Haifeng? Did you get up too casually? At this point, behind the Black Sha, a group of black fish spirits were amazed. Black Wind Young Master has extraordinary talents, which is too much like a human. Is this the legendary perfect form? My Black Fish tribe has not produced such a supreme pride as the Black Wind Young Master in 100 years. It's 1,000 years, 1,000 years have not come. A group of black fish spirits stared at Zhang Liang, muttering to themselves, their eyes full of surprise, but they were extremely respectful and didn't dare to offend, as if they really regarded Zhang Liang as the young master. Quiet. Black Sha's face was full of smiles, his mouth was wide open, and his mouth was full of sharp teeth, some of which were stuffed with minced meat, indicating that he had just eaten it. He only heard him say, "Black Wind, do you know who I am?" Clan leader. Zhang Liang had heard the black fish spirit call his clan leader, so he naturally wouldn't admit it wrong. However, after Zhang Liang finished speaking the words, clan leader, Haisha was immediately overjoyed and said, my spiritual intelligence is not bad. If I really have good spiritual intelligence, I don't need to be taught, I can know that I am the clan leader. Zhang Liang blinked his eyes, what does that mean? Is this not bad for spiritual intelligence? But someone sighed and said, I truly deserve to be the black-winged young master. After 3 years of transformation, I was able to barely discern the surrounding things. On the same day, the young master could recognize the clan leader, and his intelligence was truly amazing. Someone reached into their pocket and took out a handful of mussels, carefully asking, Master Heifeng, do you know how many mussels I have in my hand? 13. Hiss. Black-winged young master is as intelligent as a great demon. At the beginning of his transformation, he was able to recognize numbers. It took me half a year to barely recognize numbers. Zhang Liang was amazed when he saw a group of black fish spirits, and black lines were about to appear on his forehead. Are all these black fish tribes intellectually disabled? Yu Hai and Lo are also sea monsters. Is that all intelligence? The Black Sha clan chief couldn't stop laughing and said, Black Wind, come and meet the elders and members of my Black Fish clan. This is Black 1, Black 2, Black 3. Zhang Liang. When Haisha read Hey 101, Zhang Liang couldn't help but say, Chief, are all the names and taboos of my tribe arranged by numbers? Why is my name Heifeng? The Black Sha clan chief explained, naming with numbers is more convenient for memory. As for Black Wind, the word Black Wind is said to be the name taboo of a perfect shaper in our clan in the past, and now it can finally be passed down to you. Zhang Liang. Patriarch, why are you called the Black Sha? Black Sha smiled proudly and said, because I am the chieftain of the Black Fish tribe and the second smartest in our tribe, naming me should not fall into the conventions. The second smartest. As he spoke, Black Sha pulled Zhang Liang up and swam towards the city, explaining, Black Wind, you have just transformed, and you still need to meet your master, the Black Fish wise man. Master. Zhang Liang felt inexplicable again. He had just become the young master of the Black Fish tribe inexplicably, and now a master appeared inexplicably. What kind of trouble is this going to cause? Black Sha explained, the Black Fish wise man is the most intelligent person in our clan. He has profound intelligence and is knowledgeable about thousands of tribes and tribes. Now, he has even reached the early stage of foundation construction, with unparalleled divine abilities and boundless magical power. Only he can serve as your master. In the early stages of foundation construction, Zhang Liang was confused for a moment. How could the sea demon be called the same realm as the cultivator? Black Sha. This explanation is complicated. The ferocious beast has low spiritual intelligence and can be called in stages. As for us sea demons, our spiritual intelligence is unparalleled and comparable to that of human cultivators, so we do not divide them into stages. Instead, we use the same level of cultivation as human cultivators. Based on your current cultivation level, it is comparable to 3 levels of human chi cultivation. However, because all sea demons are 3 levels of dharma, body, and life cultivation, you must be more powerful than the 3 levels of human chi cultivation. The 3 cultivation methods of dharma, body, and longevity. What is that? Zhang Liang was puzzled and did not agree with the statement of the Black Sha. The cultivators of the human race not only use weapons, but also skillfully use formation symbols. It is difficult to say if they really fight. As for spiritual excellence, Zhang Conscience said, I really didn't feel this. Although I do have some intelligence, it doesn't look too high no matter what. Following the Black Sha, they marched for dozens of miles, with seawater squeezing and blocking them, much slower than the black fish form, and not smooth. However, seeing the Black Sha protecting his body with spiritual energy and breaking through the water seems quite simple. Zhang Liang followed suit, but soon he realized something was wrong. His spiritual strength was far inferior to that of the Black Sha, so he still didn't feel very good. Fortunately, not far from the parade, Zhang Liang saw a giant white shell that was 7 or 8 meters in size. When the two of them fell in front of the white shell, they saw the shell actively open and an ordinary old man with an ordinary appearance sitting among the big shell. Zhang Liang's heart twitched. Is this the black fish wise man? Its body shape is no different from that of a human, and it truly deserves to be the most successful transformation in the entire black fish tribe. The black fish wise man widened his eyes upon seeing Zhang Liang, filled with shock, confusion, and disbelief. Human cultivator. No, it's just a matter of refining one's body. Hiss, is this our black fish? Black Sha immediately respectfully said, Wise one, Black Wind is the unparalleled Tianjiao of our tribe who has just been perfectly transformed today. His intelligence is not bad, and as soon as he transforms, he can chat with me freely. Chat freely. Zhang Conscience said that I didn't say a few words to you, it was you who talked the whole time. Nonsense, the perfect shapeshifter, even before shapeshifting, could actually understand the language of demons, recognize numbers and objects, and chat with you for a while. It's not appropriate. The black fish wise man's eyes were full of brilliance. He brushed the ground and came to Zhang Liang's face, pressing his head with one hand, unable to resist. Zhang Liang only felt a surge of spiritual energy enter his body and quickly swam throughout his body before being retracted. High-grade 9th level spiritual root, good and good. It's truly a perfect transformation. It's really my black fish department that never stops. How pitiful. Zhang Liang's heart twitched slightly, and the spiritual roots of the cultivator determined the upper limit of cultivation. From bottom to top, they were Mortal level 9, Sea level, Earth level, Heavenly level, Ultimate level, and Legendary Immortal level spiritual roots. Among them, levels 1 to 3 in the 9th grade are collectively referred to as lower grade spiritual roots. Levels 4 to 6 are collectively referred to as intermediate spiritual roots. Levels 7 to 9 are collectively referred to as top-grade spiritual roots. There is no other reason why the classification of ordinary products is so detailed, because the vast majority of people have spiritual roots listed here, so the classification is also the most detailed. Spiritual roots do not distinguish between attributes, but can determine the level of talent and growth limit. Zhang Liang knew he was only a 2nd level spiritual root. How could he become a 9th level spiritual root in front of this black fish wise man? Do you have 2 spiritual roots? I saw the black fish wise man with an excited expression. Unexpectedly, on the eve of my deadline, a perfectly shaped seedling was sent. Black Wind, are you willing to worship me as your teacher? I am willing. Of course Zhang Liang is willing. You should know that 3 years ago, he just crossed over and was just an ordinary black fish. Through him, he has been eating, and in just 3 years, he has been eating raw and hard until he reaches the level of 1st level lower grade sea demon. Oh no, he is a sea demon practicing his body. This speed is several times faster than practicing on Qingfeng Island. Moreover, this black fish wise man is a great demon in the early days of foundation building. He is definitely a Qingfeng Island lord who deserves a slap. It seems that he is not at a disadvantage to learn from him. What is not repair? Anyway, it's enough to become stronger. Ha ha ha, good disciple, come and follow me to restart the black fish secret store. I will teach you well. Secret collection. Zhang Liang was overjoyed. Is it so good? This identity and status have been elevated, but can one still unlock the secret? There should be a lot of good things inside, right? Isn't it a smooth path for oneself to cultivate in the future? The black fish wise man pulled Zhang Liang along and saw the black Sha still wanting to follow. He couldn't help but scold, "Why are you following? With your intelligence, can you understand the Black Fish secret store? Go ahead." Black Shah. My spiritual intelligence is not low. I am the second smartest in the Black Fish tribe. Now it's third, get lost. Good Zhang Liang is not yet familiar with the Black Fish tribe and has not dared to speak along the way, fearing that too much will lead to loss, which has aroused the suspicion of the Black Fish wise man. At least, this Black Fish wise man should not be considered foolish and deserves the title of wise man. A moment later, on a coral reef, the Black Fish wise man waved his back and shot out 5 small flags. When the flags were inserted on the coral reef, a burst of dark light flickered, and the coral reef twisted and transformed into an underground cave. The wise man of the Black Fish said, "Black Wind, my disciple. Before entering the Black Fish treasure trove, I will ask you a few questions as a teacher." "Excuse me, master." The Black Fish wise man pondered and said, "Black Wind, would you feel out of place with other black fish?" Zhang Liang nodded, "Not just out of place, he is a serious person." The Black Fish wise man said again, "Do you think the black devils are too stupid?" Zhang Liang couldn't help but nod again when he remembered the attitude of the Black Fish wise man towards the Black Shah just now. Upon seeing this, the Black Fish wise man sighed slightly and said, "I knew that the perfect shapeshifter has extraordinary spiritual intelligence. But the first thing I want to teach you, Black Wind, is that even if you feel that you are out of place with the other members of the Black Fish tribe, even if you think they are stupid. But you must remember that your essence is a black fish, and you were born into my Black Fish tribe. The people here, including the Black Shah, will be your subjects in the future, so be kind to them." Zhang Liang nodded and said, "I will strictly follow my master's teachings." Upon seeing this, the Black Fish wise man couldn't help but show his admiration and immediately said, "Actually, stupid sea monsters are mostly low-level sea monsters. With the improvement of their strength and realm, their spiritual intelligence will become higher and higher, and they will not be so foolish. Come on, and follow me in." After Zhang Liang entered the Black Fish secret with excitement, he immediately became dumbfounded and seriously suspected that he had gone to the wrong place. In front of me, this space is less than 100 square meters, filled with some weapons buried in mud and sand, as well as some messy turtle shells, jade walls, and fish skin rolls. The Black Fish wise man excitedly scraped out a fish skin from the mud and said, "My disciple, although you have extraordinary intelligence and can master the demon language before you transform, the sea demon script still needs to be learned. Let's start learning from the script." Zhang Liang was puzzled in his heart. Isn't it natural for him to speak demon language? After crossing over, he didn't learn anything. The first time he heard the demon language, he understood it and thought it was something he was born with. But seeing the wise black fish, he carefully opened the fish skin roll and greeted Zhang Liang, "Dao, my disciple, come to my teacher's side and I will teach you how to read." However, when Zhang Liang saw the sea demon text, he couldn't help but slightly open his mouth and said to himself, "Isn't this something innate? Do we also need to learn this?" Chapter 4, As a Teacher, I Don't Know. You are listening at novelfull.audio. No, why do you know sea demon language and sea demon writing? I've never seen them before. But, yes means yes. Just a glance at him reveals that he knows yes. Is it because he is a black fish? He is not ordinary in himself. At first, the black fish wise man was afraid that Zhang Liang wouldn't understand and wanted to patiently explain the meaning of the characters. However, within a moment, his spiritual sense felt that Zhang Liang's gaze was somewhat erratic. "Heifan, have you learned the demon tribe script from earlier? Zhang Liang really doesn't want to learn these things. He didn't come here this time to be a good student. He spent a huge amount of money to purchase the green sword talisman, which he came to hunt. So, he pondered, since everyone thought he was smart, why not be smarter?" So, Zhang Liang pretended to be embarrassed and said, "Master, I seem to have memorized these demon tribe scripts after listening to them once. Ah! The black fish wise man looked at Zhang Liang in shock and also muttered to himself, is the perfectly shaped black fish so smart? Alas! It's because my master's strength level is too weak, otherwise there's no need to learn these things. You can complete them with just one finger of teleportation, and there's no need to waste time learning. Alright, I'll read it quickly once, and you'll see if you can keep up. If you can't keep up, you'll just shout to stop. Yes, master. Half an hour later. Zhang Liang tried hard to pretend to be studying seriously, without interrupting the futile efforts of the black fish wise man throughout the journey, but he didn't know that the inner turmoil of the black fish wise man was already surging. When the black fish wise man finished reading, although he already knew the result, he still asked, "Disciple, do you have any doubts in your heart?" Zhang Liang shook his head and said, "Master, I have completely remembered it." Sure enough. The black fish wise man gave a bitter smile and said, "It seems that I underestimated the perfect shaper after all. Since you are so intelligent, why don't you first take a look at the fish skin roll hidden in the black fish secret? Here are the history, martial arts, and combat techniques of my black fish department. If you have any questions, how about I?" It's not that the black fish wise man doesn't want to teach, but he doesn't know how to teach. The demon tribe script that I had learned for several years, this disciple mastered it all in half an hour. By comparison, I am simply a scumbag, so teaching myself may not be as good as being taught by others. If you only need to correct yourself a little, won't it be enough? Zhang Liang naturally enjoyed it so much. Otherwise, if he had followed the teaching method of the black fish wise man, without 10 days and a half a month, where would he have been able to leave? So, Zhang Liang's first task was to classify turtle shells, jade walls, and fish skin rolls. Immediately, he took the initiative to open these fish skin rolls. When hundreds of fish skin rolls were spread out on the ground, the black fish wise man couldn't help but swallow the seawater. Is there anyone who reads like this? An hour later, Zhang Liang neatly put away these fish skin rolls. 80% of all the fish skin rolls are left by the former strong builders of the black fish tribe, telling their adventurous experiences and insights to warn future generations. Another 20% is about the exploration of the growth and rise of the black fish, mainly focusing on techniques and combat techniques, attempting to expand and strengthen the black fish division. It can be said that those experiences during training do have practical value, while others are all nonsense. However, Zhang Liang found a particularly interesting role in this fish skin roll, which was the seemingly low-level black fish part, which turned out to be a bloodline-growing sea monster. According to the records in the fish skin roll, as the strength of black fish grows and advances, it may awaken its bloodline, leading to a trend of ancestral evolution. Among them, it has been discovered that after advancing the bloodline of the black fish, it will transform into an iron-headed fish, whose head is extremely hard and can break magic tools. If the iron-headed fish goes further, it is said to transform into a dragon-headed fish, giving birth to a trace of dragon power and emitting the sound of dragon chants, which is terrifying and boundless. From this perspective, this black fish tribe is not considered a useless tribe in the sea demon realm. If developed well, it seems that it can also rise. Master, what are these turtle shells and jade treasures? The black fish wise man seemed to be lost in thought. Upon hearing Zhang Liang's inquiry, he was immediately awakened and regained his senses. Oh! Turtle shell is a martial art and secret technique of our tribe, with many records left by the former strong members of our black fish department. As for the jade bai, it is a cultivation technique of our black fish department and also left by our ancestors' exploration. Is this the combat technique and martial arts? Zhang Liang's heart was filled with joy. As a small fisherman on Qingfeng Island, he didn't have any opportunity to learn advanced combat skills and martial arts. They all require spiritual stones. And earning spiritual stones is not easy. It can be said that it is not uncommon to accumulate spiritual stones for 2 to 3 years to learn a technique. He first looked at the martial arts, and there were a total of 13 jade treasures here. However, when he picked up the first one, he was stunned. The name of its technique is Yin-Yang Mutual Transformation Anti-Heavenly Divine Technique, which is extremely impressive just by its name. Upon closer inspection, it turns out to be a technique that teaches black fish to change their gender. Without Mao Yong, even their strength cannot be improved. What else is the bone transformation technique? It actually requires people to refine and remove their own bones, cultivate a boneless body, and transform the potential in the bones into the flesh, a typical technique of death. The most bizarre thing is still the divine technique for transforming beasts, which talks about the method of transforming from a sea demon to a fierce beast. I'm afraid this senior has a bad brain and insists on transitioning from having intelligence to not having intelligence, and I don't know what to think. Just when Zhang Liang was extremely disappointed, he suddenly came across a dharma called Beast Control Technique. The writing of this dharma was exquisite, and between the lines, it explained how to subdue sea beasts, which didn't seem like something that senior black fish could write. When Zhang Liang picked up this jade wall, the black fish wise man immediately said, "This is a technique that my teacher stumbled upon when he was wandering in the past. The white shell where my teacher lived, named Jianjia White Shell, was the fierce beast I guarded." Zhang Liang immediately made an effort to show a hint of admiration, saying, "With just this method, Master far surpasses his ancestors." Ha ha ha. Where and where? Zhang Liang looked at the black fish wise man again and felt that this so-called wise man may not necessarily be very intelligent. After all, he still felt quite proud. In addition to the beast control technique, there is indeed a serious martial arts technique, which is the swallowing the sea technique that everyone in the black fish department is practicing. This cultivation technique contains a unique inherited secret technique of the black fish spirit, called the Fury Secret Technique, which can instantly unleash several times the speed and strength. When Zhang Liang received the inheritance of the black ancestor, he automatically mastered the operation root of this skill and the related frenzy secrets. As for the sea swallowing ability he still comprehended, it seemed like an accident. "Master, are we all practicing the swallowing the sea technique in the black fish department?" "Of course, this is the strongest technique of my black fish sect. According to our ancestors' teachings, they all practice this technique." "Master, I think this skill mainly focuses on swallowing the yuan, that is, devouring demon blood, taking its essence, and replenishing itself. In that case, why do we follow the realm division of human immortals?" The black fish sage immediately felt that he had an effect, and immediately smiled. This question is simple. Whether it is a sea demon or a ferocious beast, it is the 3 cultivation of the Dharma body in longevity. The cultivation of Dharma is because we can absorb the essence of the spirit of the fairy sea. The cultivation of physical fitness is because we can improve our physical fitness by strengthening the demon pill. The cultivation of life is because we can eat the demon blood, absorb its essence, and let ourselves grow and prolong our life. Therefore, the cultivation of Qi is also one of our growth ways. With the growth of strength, we become human-shaped cultivation, and naturally take advantage of the realm of human friars, which is countless time passes slowly. I see. By the way, I have a question. Since we can transform into human form, can we impersonate human cultivators? Of course not. The wise black fish laughed and said, "Although we all absorb spiritual energy for cultivation, the spiritual energy we cultivate carries a demonic breath that can be clearly felt by people. They call it demonic energy. However, in human cultivation, there is no such thing as demonic breath, so human cultivators cannot impersonate us as sea demons." Oh. Zhang Liang's heart twitched, so although he was in human form now, he must have a demonic aura. But why didn't there be any demonic energy after crossing back before? Practice. Zhang Liang's eyes lit up, which was due to his cultivation technique. Previously, I had not mastered the technique of swallowing the sea and had not practiced the technique of sea monsters because I had not transformed. I see, so when I travel through the past, as long as I no longer use the sea demon technique, is that okay? Zhang Liang cannot be certain about this now, he will only know it after returning. The problem that troubled him was basically solved, and Zhang Liang's hanging heart was also relieved. By the way, Master, since we have 3 cultivation methods for body and longevity, why is the speed of our sea demon cultivation still so slow? I just observed on the fish skin scroll, and there is a record from our ancestors that the fastest human cultivator can build a foundation in just a few decades. Master, how old are you now? Alas! I am almost 300 years old as a teacher. 300 years old. Zhang Liang's heart trembled. What conditions? In the early stages of building a foundation, can one live for 300 years? Although he is just a small fisherman, he also knows that the period of refining qi is no different from the lifespan of mortals. Only by building a foundation can he increase his lifespan by 1 or 2, but at most he can increase his lifespan by several decades. How can he live to 300 years? So, this is the benefit of sea demon cultivation's lifespan, can it live longer? The black fish wise master sighed and said, there are 2 sides to everything. Human cultivators practice quickly, but they cannot absorb demon elements to cultivate longevity. They live short, so they naturally cultivate quickly. We sea demons are nourished by the Immortal Sea, and although our cultivation is not fast, we can absorb demon elements to increase longevity, which is better than living for a long time. Even some old turtles in the qi refining period can live for 1,000 years without being hunted. Can human cultivators do this? Zhang Liang nodded and said, indeed, heaven is fair. If you live long, your cultivation will naturally slow down. If you live short, you will naturally cultivate quickly, and it seems like there is no problem. Zhang Liang. Is there an upper limit to longevity cultivation? The wise man of the black fish nodded and said, of course there are, but different sea monsters have different upper limits. I, the black fish, have one lineage, and the upper limit of the qi cultivation period is 150 years old, while the maximum foundation construction period can reach 400 years old. Zhang Liang pondered in his heart, it seems that fish still cannot compare to turtles. It would be great if I could transform into a turtle myself. Thank you very much for your guidance, Master. The black fish wise man nodded with a smile and said, actually, not all the creatures in the Immortal Sea live long. Many ordinary creatures also live short. Moreover, what my teacher said about living long is that there is no struggle. In the vast Immortal Sea, there are countless creatures that can survive safely. If you want to obtain the demon Dan and demon blood, you must go to battle and seize it. So even if the sea demon wants to repair its lifespan, it is extremely difficult. There are countless people who fall in the middle of the journey. Zhang Liang recognizes this point, that the Sea of Immortals is better than cultivating the immortal realm, where the weak prey on the weak. When big fish eat small fish, they won't reason with you. However, Zhang Liang was also moved and asked, Master, how big is our Immortal Sea and what kind of world is it? Zhang Liang really didn't know, as a cultivator, he could only recognize Qingfeng Island and several nearby islands. He had no idea how big and what the Immortal Sea was. Zhang Liang stared at the black fish wise man, who spat out a mouthful of bubbles and stared at Zhang Liang. Finally, he said leisurely, the farthest place I have ever been to is only the 10,000 Demon Mansion, which is 100,000 miles away from the Black Fish tribe. It is said that there is also the Demon City above the 10,000 Demon Mansion, and the King City above the Demon City. If you ask me, I don't know how big the Immortal Sea is. Chapter 5. Refining Body 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This learning only lasted for 1 day. The real learning time actually lasted less than 4 hours. In the following time, Zhang Liang selected an axe weapon that was comparable to a top-quality magic weapon, and then studied many combat techniques. War skills and martial arts are different. Martial arts are pitfalls, but war skills are all learned through trial and error in battle. No matter how stupid the black fish spirit is, it can still learn some war skills over a long period of time. However, these combat techniques focus more on explosive force, speed, and strength. The technology is too simple. Even if it is a secret skill, it is just an explosive skill in one's own cultivation path. Compared to cultivating the immortal realm, it is much worse. Fortunately, for a serious cultivator like Zhang Liang, it is not difficult to get started. It is worth mentioning that there is a difference in weapons between the sea demon and the cultivator. There are indeed alchemists among the sea monsters, but there is none in the black fish department. The weapons used are all polished from the bones of fierce beasts or sea monsters, and then refined with spiritual energy. Over time, the quality is not bad. The black fish department not only has no alchemist, but also no alchemist, array mage, or talisman maker. There are only two sets of formations in the black fish tribe. One is the hidden formation hidden by the black fish, and the other is the defense formation in the black fish treasure, both of which were passed down from our ancestors. It is said that they were purchased at a market called the 100 Demons Collection. One day later, Zhang Liang browsed through the secret collection of black fish, but to put it simply, the difference between it and the treasure he had imagined was too great. The worst thing about it is that there is no spirit stone, and as a newcomer, it is not convenient for him to request it, which shattered his desire to make a fortune overnight. But he did gain a lot, learning a lot about sea monsters and even getting a top-quality magic axe. You should know that high-quality magic tools are not something that a small fisherman can afford. They must be something that a strong person of the same level as the Qinfeng Island Lord can use. Originally, the black fish wise man was pondering whether to give his weapon to Zhang Liang. But considering that even if given, Zhang Liang wouldn't be able to use it, so he let Zhang Liang pick this axe. At this point, the black fish wise man is trapped in a cognitive barrier of his own. Zhang Liang. Master, I have finished reading it. Oh. Okay, I'm considering teaching you something. The black fish wise man suddenly realized that he didn't seem to have much to teach. He thought that a black fish secret collection would be enough for Zhang Liangxue to study for 3 to 5 years. However, who knew that the black fish department's treasure trove would last for a day? Master, I'm hungry. Zhang Liang did not forget the purpose of his trip. Apart from transforming, he mainly came to hunt. Since he discovered his black fish body, he can become stronger by eating, and the more advanced things he eats, the faster he grows. He then purchased the Little Thunder Talisman in an attempt to kill the ferocious beast at the bottom of the sea, but the power of the Little Thunder Talisman at the bottom of the sea was greatly reduced, making it difficult to inflict heavy damage on the ferocious beast. As a last resort, Zhang Liang purchased the Green Sword Talisman and killed a red-spotted fish living on the outskirts of the coral reef. It was precisely that meal that promoted him to the level of physical training. So, this time he wanted to repeat the old trick and purchase the Green Sword Talisman again. The target had already been identified, and he was waiting to take action. Who knew that if he transformed into a form, it would become a delicacy in the black fish tribe? However, that's not bad either. If this cheap master could hunt for himself a fierce beast with 10 heads and 8 heads, and 1,000 heads and 100 heads. Zhang Liang doesn't know if his cultivation skills are good, but he is definitely unstoppable in cultivating demons. Unexpectedly, the wise black fish suddenly snapped out of his mind and said, "I've forgotten about that. So, disciple, go eat now." "Master, aren't you with me?" Zhang Lianxin said these few meanings were all feigned in combination with the previous enthusiasm. "I have already worshipped you as my teacher. Just don't give me the spirit stone. Aren't you willing to help me get a few sea monsters to make up for it?" "But see. The Black-Fish Wise Man hesitated a bit. After all, this was the only perfectly transformed supreme pride of the Black-Fish tribe for thousands of years. If something unexpected happened, he was afraid to die without closing his eyes. In the end, the Black-Fish Wise Man said, "Okay, I will go with you. However, my disciple, the law of the Immortal Sea is that the law of the jungle is that the weak prey the strong. Although I can help you hunt down sea monsters, you will not gain growth and experience in this way. Moreover, this black-fish coral group is the territory of my black-fish tribe and also the place where my black-fish tribe experiences. There is not much danger in it. Therefore, if I don't take action, I won't take action." Zhang Liang's heart sank, thinking that he could save a green sword talisman, and that I would have to play it myself if it were to be combined. Zhang Liang persisted and said, "Master, I have just transformed and I am not yet fully familiar with my body. Moreover, I vaguely feel that there are signs of a breakthrough and I urgently need to eat a sea demon or fierce beast that can refine my body twice. Could you please help me once, and after I eat, I will close for a few days to familiarize myself with my human form and body, and then proceed with my training. Joke, the strong builder of the foundation is right in front of us, and we have to fight on our own. Are you sick?" Zhang Liang is not shameless. Judging from the attitude of this black-fish sage towards him, there should be no reason to oppose such a small request. Sure enough, upon hearing this, the black-fish wise man suddenly realized. "Yes, it was because of my teacher's lack of careful consideration that I forgot that you had just transformed. However, just as you transformed, you felt the opportunity to break through." Zhang Liang nodded repeatedly and said, "During the transformation, I felt the power bestowed by the Black Ancestor, which directly touched the bottleneck of the dual cultivation of my body." Zhang Liang really didn't cheat on this point, and that's the fact. The bottleneck sensation of practicing qi and refining body is completely different. Practicing qi involves the movement of spiritual energy in the tendons and meridians. Exercise is an increase in physical strength and resilience, and the bottleneck of exercise is a feeling of power fluctuating up and down. So, Zhang Liang confirmed that this is the bottleneck of body refining, not the bottleneck of qi cultivation. And for physical exercise, all you need to do is eat. The gift from Black Ancestor. The Black-Fish Wise Man widened his eyes. Black Ancestor has died for thousands of years, can he still bestow power? He may not be smart, but he doesn't quite believe it either. However, what Zhang Liang said is quite true, perhaps it is true. To err, since you need to close down and consolidate, there's no need to run away. I'll catch a few fierce beasts for you. You should also keep the black fish hidden here for a good time to consolidate. Thank you very much, Master. Zhang Liang was overjoyed. He didn't have to waste the green sword talisman or take risks himself. Is this the feeling of lying down and winning? Half an hour later. Zhang Liang is trying a type of gameplay, and he naturally doesn't need to control his humanoid body, otherwise those decades would be in vain. But the art of swimming in the middle of the sea has to be learned, and the speed of running is related to one's own safety, so one cannot be careless. My disciple. I saw the wise black fish dragging a 5-meter-old green crab with one hand and a stone-spotted fierce fish with the other. Zhang Liang was immediately overjoyed to see the black fish wise man catch back 2 fierce beasts. I only heard the latter say, my disciple, these are the 2 peaks of body refining. The blue stone crab and grouper, both of which have condensed into demon pills and abundant demon elements. You should eat them with meat and shells, and remember to use the sea swallowing method to eliminate the demon pill and absorb the demon elements in order to maximize the body refining effect. Thank you very much, Master. The black fish wise man shook his head repeatedly and said, why be polite when you and I have a master-apprentice battle? You should rest assured and keep quiet. When it comes to breaking through, do not seek speed. As a teacher, I will go and bring the strong armor and white shell over. It is not far away and I will protect you. Yes, Master Yu reading at www.yuukeungshu.net. On the surface, Zhang Liang was quite respectful, but secretly he said that this old man shouldn't have barged in while he was in seclusion, right? However, practicing in seclusion and breaking through the realm is a big deal, and theoretically speaking, it should not be possible. Never mind, in case this black fish wise man discovers something unusual, I won't go back for now. Anyway, the fish tax for this month has already been paid. There are so many fishermen on Qingfeng Island, where did they go? Who would pay attention? Black fish hidden in secret. Zhang Liang indulged in a feast, he was really hungry. After all, sea monsters are also a type of marine creatures, and everyone has to eat. After learning for a whole day, they have not eaten and are already hungry. That large stone spot, with a tight fish skin and extremely strong toughness, allowed Zhang Liang to experience the unique taste of delicious Q.bombs. But this time, Zhang Liang's eating is completely different from the previous pure eating. When he uses the method of swallowing the sea, he can clearly feel the enhancement of his own qi and blood, as well as the abundant strength in his body. Fish demon pills, some hidden in organs, some hidden in the brain marrow. The demon pill of this grouper is hidden in its organs and is a white round bead. Zhang Liang swallowed in one gulp, and under the influence of the sea swallowing magic, he suddenly felt the muscles and tendons of his body tense, as if being soaked in some kind of force. As Zhang Liang regained his senses from this peculiar feeling, he suddenly realized that he had transformed into a black fish. Unfortunately, a demon pill is not enough. Without hesitation, Zhang Liang immediately opened the shell of the blue stone crab, ate it indiscriminately, and finally swallowed a demon pill again. I don't know how long it has been. Zhang Liang shook his body and transformed into a human figure, with a surprised expression on his face. He felt a surge of his own qi and blood, a great increase in strength, and even his body became a bit lighter. Is this the duel of refining his body? Chapter 6. Selection of Attendants. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Promoted to the second level of physical training, Zhang Liang gained a bit of confidence in his eyes. Double cultivation of dharma and body is rare among low-priced cultivators, mainly because they do not have the capital to cultivate. Moreover, human cultivators, how can they refine their bodies so quickly? At this moment, Zhang Liang seriously suspected that this sea-swallowing ability was quite extraordinary. Otherwise, everyone in the black fish department would swallow the law of the sea. How could there be only the black fish wise man who built the foundation? So, it's probably not that the other members of the black fish department practiced slowly, but rather that they practiced too quickly themselves. Zhang Liang restrained his excited emotions and began to analyze the reasons. This breakthrough is indeed very fast. However, even though I had already felt the opportunity to break through, I still ate two ferocious beasts that had reached the peak of body refining, equivalent to eating two strong beasts that had reached the 6th level of qi cultivation. It seems that the path of cultivation, whether it is to cultivate qi or body, is destined to become increasingly difficult as one moves forward. Zhang Liang doesn't know how long this breakthrough took, but if he goes out now, he may not be able to escape the sight of the black fish wise man for a short time. What can we do without going out? I have already broken through and eaten the crab shell. I can't just lie down and sleep. While Zhang Liang was pondering whether he could take the opportunity to return to Qingfeng Island, he suddenly heard the voice of the black fish wise man coming from outside the black fish secret store. Apprentice, how have you made progress in breaking through? Sleeping trough. Zhang Liang was suddenly startled, thinking to himself that this old guy had been staring at him all along. Fortunately, I didn't rush back to Qingfeng Island, otherwise I might not be able to explain it clearly. It seems that in the future, if you want to use the Realm God Mirror, you must find an absolutely secret place. Otherwise, once spied upon by the strong, one's own death may not be far away. Brush. Zhang Liang left the Black Fish secret store. Master, my disciple has already broken through the dual level of body cultivation. Unfortunately, my magic power still remains at the third level of chi cultivation. The Black Fish wise man could no longer conceal his shock, but he still struggled to explain. We sea demons have 3 cultivation methods for body and longevity. Different sea demons have different focuses. Some are powerful in body cultivation, some are powerful in chi cultivation, and some are powerful in longevity cultivation. In our Black Fish tribe, the easiest is to cultivate body, followed by longevity, and finally chi cultivation. Our enemy, the Black Wu tribe, is the easiest to cultivate chi, the second is to cultivate body, and the slowest is to increase longevity. I see. Terrifying, terrifying, seeing the Black Fish wise man still exclaiming, Zhang Liang once doubted what he had done. Is it also shocking that even if one level of body refining breaks through 2 levels, it still cannot change the fact of being a weak chicken? Master, it's just a small breakthrough. How could it surprise you so much? Just breaking through a small realm. The Black Fish wise man smiled bitterly and said, you have forgotten what I told you. Our sea demon or ferocious beast has a long lifespan, so our cultivation speed is naturally relatively slow. If you have just transformed, it means that your bone age does not exceed 20 years. 20 years, the second level of body refining. Do you know how long it took for me to only transform, break through, and reach the second level of body refining? How long? 10 years. The Black Fish wise man exclaimed excitedly, my disciple, you only used 3 days, 3 days. The Black Fish wise man was overjoyed, as if witnessing a great miracle. Zhang Liang kept muttering to himself, what would you think if I said I only studied for 3 years in total? However, Zhang Liang is not as optimistic as the Black Fish wise man. The Black Fish wise man only saw himself breaking through to the second level of body refining in 3 days. In fact, only Zhang Liang himself knew that the reason why this breakthrough went so smoothly was probably because he understood the inheritance of the black ancestor and stimulated his own potential. After all, before his transformation, although he was also a key player in refining his body, he was far from reaching his peak. It is the mysterious power that gave birth to the transformation, instantly reaching the peak of the first level of body refining and directly rushing to the bottleneck of the second level of body refining. This kind of thing should not happen repeatedly. So, perhaps self-cultivation of demons would be faster, but definitely not so fast. After the Black Fish wise man finished getting excited, Zhang Liang said, Master, I feel like I've adapted to the human form a bit now, but I'm still not very familiar. What Zhang Liang wants to say is that he hasn't been able to control his human form yet. Master, can you help me get a few more ferocious beasts to eat? Unexpectedly, before Zhang Liang could finish speaking, he was interrupted by the Black Fish wise man. Yes, at this moment, we should practice more. Only by practicing more can we become proficient and polish the foundation well. We must not act too hastily. Unfortunately, I cannot leave the Black Fish department, otherwise if I am known by the Black Wu department, the opponent will definitely come. However, I will arrange some followers for you. Let's first experience it in our Black Fish coral group, and not blindly seek speed. We should swallow the refining demon pill one after another, and we should consolidate and digest it well. Okay. Zhang Liang thought about it carefully, and the Black Fish wise man said it quite well. Any growth must be consolidated and digested. Eating and eating blindly can easily cause instability in the foundation. However, at least for now, I have not felt any instability in my foundation. Alternatively, the sea swallowing ability is beyond cognition in terms of polishing the foundation. Of course, Zhang Liang has his own decision on how to proceed. If you feel your foundation is unstable, it doesn't matter if you polish it again. Moreover, hunting ferocious beasts doesn't necessarily have to be used for food. Since we need to arrange some followers for ourselves, these people should not be very smart, right? With a blink of an eye, Zhang Liang already had an idea in his heart. After a moment. Black Fish Tribe. The underwater tide surged, and thousands of black fish spirits were swimming against it. Zhang Liang could tell at a glance that they were practicing swimming skills. At this point, many black fish spirits, upon seeing the arrival of the black fish sage and Zhang Liang, were immediately attracted and lost in thought. Many people were swept away by the undercurrent and then swam back in embarrassment. The black fish wise man chuckled and said, "My disciple, there are often dark tides and currents at the bottom of the sea, some strong and some weak. If we can make good use of them, it is also a way of cultivation. But when you are unfamiliar with dark tides, do not wander around. As a teacher, I have seen a strong foundation builder who was swept away by the dark currents and died. Thank you very much for your guidance, Master." The black demon over there saw the situation and immediately welcomed him. Now all the black fish demons know that Zhang Liang has been adopted as a disciple by the black fish wise man. They envy him, but they don't seem to either. They are just curious, especially curious. At this moment, thousands of people were staring at Zhang Liang with eager eyes, as if they had seen their idols. Black Shah. Wise Lord, Black Wind, you have finally returned. The black fish wise man couldn't help but say, "We haven't gone out yet, how can we talk about it?" Black Shah seemed to have gotten used to the tone of the black fish wise man and grinned broadly, "Wise man, is this to let Black Wind practice with us? Practice with you guys? Do you also deserve it?" The black fish wise man sneered and said, "My disciple is going to the surrounding area to experience. I will choose 2. Oh no, 4. Forget it, choose 8 members of the double body refining clan to accompany. Are you going out to experience now?" Black Shah was a bit surprised and said, "It's only been 3 days. Black Wind should still be learning the Sea Demon script, right?" "Ha! Just the Sea Demon script, why take 3 days? I can understand it in half a day. Go there, don't use your big little fish brain to speculate about Tianjiao. Half a day." Black Shah was stunned for a while before turning around and shouting, "Did everyone hear you? Who wants to go and experience with Black Wind young master? Stand up." Me, I saw thousands of black fish spirits standing up and shouting in unison. Including Black Shah, he was also shouting, "Me, and me." Zhang Liang is speechless, thinking to himself, "What are you doing? You are the clan leader. What are you going with me to experience?" The black fish wise man directly pushed away the Black Shah and immediately shouted sternly, "Those below the 2nd level of body cultivation should retreat. Those above the 2nd level of body cultivation should also retreat." A large area of black fish spirit crashed and retreated, leaving only over 300 people. What a pity. I really want to be with Black Wind young master. Black Wind's transformation is perfect. I really want to mate with Black Wind young master. Zhang Liang's eyelids twitched as he heard this. Isn't it a bit excessive to say that mating is not true? At the next moment, the black fish wise man suddenly shouted, "Okay, there are 300 of you, each of you picking up a shell." Zhang Liang didn't understand the meaning of the black fish wise man, but the 300 people were eager to try, as if they understood what the black fish wise man wanted to do. When everyone pulled out their shells, the black fish wise man said, "You and the Black Wind young master practiced alone and suddenly found a weak black squid ahead. Do you eat or not? 3, 2, 1, give the answer." Zhang Liang didn't understand the meaning of this question yet, only to see that there were 80% of the answers on the opposite side, all of which were written, "Eat. Write about food and get out of here. Have you forgotten that the Black Octopus loves to show weakness and lure enemies? Moreover, your mission is to protect the Black Wind young master, not to eat Black Octopus." At this moment, the black fish wise man said, "My disciple, UU read book www.uukangshu.net. Black squid is our natural enemy. You should know that no black squid is a good thing. If you encounter it, kill it if you can, and run away if you can't kill it. Understood, Master. Immediately, the Black Fish Wise Man continued, Black Shah is 27 years old this year, Black Wind Young Master is 24 years old this year. 2 years later, how many years older is Black Shah than Black Wind? 3, 2, 1, the answer is clear. Zhang Liang was shocked and looked at the Black Fish Wise Man. Is the question so simple? However, at this moment, the Black Fish spirits have also revealed the answer, but most people's answer is what a year old is. Has the black evil been fixed by time? At this moment, Zhang Liang also heard Haisha muttering, I'm 107 years old this year, and I don't remember anything about being 27 years old. Zhang Liang. On the side of the Black Fish spirit, more than half of the people were held back, and in the end, only 4 people remained. Some who have been held back are still sighing. I almost answered correctly. I know this question, it's all because time is too fast and I can't react in time. Why isn't the answer 1 year old? Upon seeing this, Zhang Liang couldn't help but shudder and said, Master, why don't I go and experience it alone? I think I can do it. The Black Fish Wise Man said, I know you find them stupid, but protecting you doesn't require too much spiritual intelligence. It's enough to always remember that their task is to protect you. There are only 4 of them, and I will give you. Master, that's enough, that's really enough. I went out to practice and was protected by so many people. What about practicing? That's true. Zhang Liangchang breathed a sigh of relief. Does this intelligence make a difference? Forget it, just consider it as heavy labor. If you can help me hunt a few ferocious beasts, I will be grateful. Chapter 7. Encountering the Black Octopus, 42 cars and 23 blue, white, and silver Big Alliance. Congratulations. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Thank you to Urcha Ursunlan for becoming the Silver League of this book. Wishing the boss good health, great wealth, and explosive profits of 100 million. I won't add more updates in the new book period, starting with 10 chapters after it's launched. Outside the Black Fish tribe, in the coral area. 2 Air, this is the topographic map of the Coral Sea that I have drawn for my teacher. The dangerous areas have been marked on it, please keep them safe. The Black Fish Wise handed Zhang Liang a fish skin picture, which was densely marked with a large area. Thank you very much, Master. The Black Fish Wise Man was still not at ease, so he handed Zhang Liang a piece of jade and said, My disciple, this is my teacher's all-out attack. If you encounter danger, I can help you kill the enemy. 2 Air, this is a protective shell made for the Master. It contains the Master's magic and can withstand a full attack during the early stages of foundation construction. I hope you won't use it. Master Xie, I must be extremely careful. Well, let's go. Once you've gained enough experience, you can come back. Let's gradually cultivate, and the same goes for us. As a teacher, we can still live for at least another 10 years. As the Black Fish Wise Man left, Zhang Liang glanced at the people around him, all excited and curious, looking at him with a smile on his face. No matter how ugly the smile was, no matter how ugly it was. Black Wind Young Master, I am Black 177. Black Wind Young Master, I am Black 232. Black Wind Young Master. Stop. Zhang Liang quickly called a halt, joking that if a fight broke out and he hadn't even finished shouting his name, he might have been killed by someone else. Zhang Liang immediately said, Since you have followed me, let me give you a name. You guys, from left to right, are called Black Sky, Black Earth, Black Xian, and Black Sea respectively. Which side is left? Pop. The guy who said that was immediately slapped on the head by the person next to him. Your side is on the left. The black fish immediately exclaimed excitedly, "Wow! Young master, I have a name now." A few black fish spirits were filled with joy, and the black sky opened its mouth wide, revealing sharp teeth. The two fins, which had not yet turned into human hands, unexpectedly slapped each other, making a muffled sound. Gollum Blackground spat out a large bubble and said, "With a name, I am the fourth smartest in the black fish department. The fourth intelligence is me." Black Xian expressed disapproval and slapped Black D's head. Black Sea was laughing foolishly, the only black fish spirit among the four who had transformed into hands and feet, and he didn't know what he was thinking. Zhang Liang couldn't help but stroke his forehead and said to himself, "Is it really okay with these guys?" "Shut up." Immediately, the four of them shut up at the same time, each with their mouths bulging. "You look at me, I look at you," as if they are using their eyes to compete. Zhang Liang sighed, although he was a bit foolish, he was still obedient, which can be considered their only advantage, right? I saw Zhang Liang take out the topographic map given by the black fish wise man. However, as soon as the fish skin picture was opened, Zhang Liang felt a strange movement in the realm god mirror. Immediately, the entire topographic map seemed to be imprinted in one's mind. This is the second function of the realm god mirror that I have explored myself, which is the map function. He can imprint the roads he has walked and the areas he has explored in his mind, transforming himself into a humanoid map. On the map, this coral reef is divided into two areas, divided by a place called the Blood Coral Sea. To the south of the Red Coral Sea is the territory of the Black Fish tribe, while to the north of the Red Coral Sea is the territory of the Black Crow tribe. There are a large number of Black Octopus sea demons living in the Black Crow tribe. Since they are enemies with the Black Fish tribe, it's better not to go. I don't really need to experience it myself. To the south, there is an underwater sand dune inhabited by sand insects and ferocious beasts, skilled in hibernation, which is very dangerous and should not be approached rashly. To the east, adjacent to a small seaweed area, there are many sea urchin ferocious beasts that are very dangerous and cannot be accessed. To the west, there are many sea locusts. Sea locusts are weak and serve as food for many fierce beasts, so they gather here, which is relatively dangerous. You can give it a try here. Fierce beasts are certainly dangerous, but they all have territorial awareness and generally have independence. Unlike sea monsters or worms, they are all social creatures. Within the same area, there is usually only one in total. Occasionally, other ferocious beasts come to compete for territory, which leads to fighting or stalemate, with two or more ferocious beasts appearing. On my side, combined with the mysterious sea of heaven and earth, there are 5 sea monsters with dual body refining abilities. I dare not say they are walking horizontally on this coral reef, but the danger is indeed very small. The coral reef group is not too large, spanning thousands of miles. After swimming more than 200 miles in half a day to the west, Zhang Liang has already harvested 2 first-order inferior ferocious beasts. Moreover, there is no need to do it yourself. At this moment, Zhang Liang frowned, not quite right. In the territory of fierce beasts, there are not many ordinary schools of fish, but there are not many relatively high-quality fish, shrimp, and crabs. And here, it is relatively quiet, and there are not many ordinary fish schools, and there are relatively few hidden creatures in the coral bushes. Is it a first-level intermediate ferocious beast? Zhang Liang had some doubts that this quietness was not normal under the sea. Only if there are ferocious beasts in this area can it cause other creatures to escape. Suddenly, a shadow flashed behind Zhang Liang and the others. Zhang Liang quickly turned around, but only saw a black shadow hiding behind a pile of coral. Hurry up, you 4, protect this young master in the middle. Although Zhang Liang has been incarnating as a black fish for 3 years, he has always hunted within 100 miles of the black fish tribe. Encountering ferocious beasts is rare, and the most common encounter is with fellow black fish. So, this is the first time he has encountered this situation, and he is also a bit flustered in his heart. Don't be a top-notch ferocious beast, it can correspond to the later stage of chi cultivation or triple body cultivation. Even if you hit 5 or 1, it is quite dangerous. In the dark sky, several people did not react as quickly as Zhang Liang, so they did not see the dark shadow. But after 4 people held on to 4 directions, after a moment, the dark sky suddenly shouted, "I saw it." He wanted to rush out of the dark sky, but took a step and stopped. Suddenly, he remembered that his trip was to protect the young master. Black Sea. I saw it too, it seems a bit familiar. This speed is black squid. Zhang Liang couldn't help but feel a heavy heart. He thought to himself that I had deliberately avoided the territory of the Black Crow tribe. How could I still encounter the Black Crow? And isn't this the territory of our Black Fish department? This black squid is good at speed, stealth, and sneak attacks. Moreover, they love the black fish spirit that sneaks into the Black Fish department the most, which is a big help for them. Of course, the opposite is also true. Shio, suddenly, 3 streams of pitch black ink spewed out from 3 directions. Not good. There are 3 black squids. Protect the young master. Zhang Liang's expression changed greatly. Is it difficult for him to become a black squid and also come out in groups to gain experience? Speaking late, then fast, squid inkjet, that's not a big deal. At that moment, Zhang Liang didn't have time to remind others. He casually grabbed the black sky and shot out, breaking through the thick ink. Sure enough, in the next moment, Black Earth, Black Xian, and Black Sea were all immersed in thick ink. Zhang Liang was afraid for a moment, and if he got caught up in it, he would be completely blind and unable to see anything. However, Zhang Liang, who ran out, didn't dare to be careless and secretly put the talisman directly on his body. Just a few seconds after he posted the talisman, 2 long tentacles attacked from the side. Zhang Liang also saw the humanoid squid for the first time, and its appearance was not as good as that of a black fish spirit. The lower body is humanoid with 2 feet, the head is like a hat with a pointed top and round bottom, and the body parts seem to be wearing a skirt with several layers of pleats. It is worth mentioning that the hair of the humanoid squid, also known as their tentacles, is 8 long and 2 short, with teeth and claws outstretched. Overall, the level of transformation is simply a mess. Bang! As Zhang Liang was preparing to take action, the dark sky around him finally demonstrated his duty as a guardian. The whole person rushed out at lightning speed, with a long spear breaking through the water and creating a water circle at the bottom of the sea. Black squid hunts black fish spirit, why doesn't black fish spirit hunt black squid? The black squid is fast and skilled in sneak attacks, but its physique is not strong. But the black fish has a strong physique, strong power, strong explosive power, and more vigorous chi in blood, but its speed is slow and its durability is poor. It can only be said that each has its own strengths. Well, the black sky shot the black octopus, and the black octopus's tentacles also wrapped around him. The black sky disregarded everything and turned into a black fish, opening its mouth and starting to bite. In terms of biting ability, the ferocity of the black fish is not comparable to that of the black squid. It only tightens its tentacles. After all, they wouldn't be foolish enough for you to bite, so black sky and the black octopus became entangled. The dark sky was entangled, and Zhang Liang knew he was alone and could no longer be entangled. As expected, the other 2 black squids, ignoring the 3 people in the dark area shrouded in thick ink, attacked Zhang Liang directly. Just as one of the black squids was almost approaching, Zhang Liang raised his hand and a green snake emerged from its sleeve, instantly transforming into a large green silk net. The black octopus has never seen a cultivator's magical tool before, and was accidentally trapped. Zhang Liang threw a green sword talisman with his backhand, and suddenly saw a flash of blue light on the seabed. A green sword shadow burst out with a clanging sound, and he fiercely killed it, instantly piercing the head of the black squid. Zhang Liang secretly said, "It's a pity that a green sword talisman can be worth 3 spirit stones. If it weren't for a black squid next to it, he would have made up his mind not to use it." Perfect form. The other black squid, seeing the situation, exploded and retreated, stomping on the water with 10 claws, and instantly ran out for several tens of meters. Then it transforms directly into its essence, like arrows in the water, racing away. Only a shock about the perfect form was left behind. 3 black squids, 1 die, 1 flee. The remaining one, Yu reading www.yuukangshu.net, was entangled by the dark sky and wanted to escape, but was firmly bitten by the dark sky. In the end, it was split open by Zhang Liang's axe and fell on the spot. Xiao, the young master is so powerful. Escaping from the darkness, I saw the black squid that Zhang Liang had killed, and then looked at the black squid that had been cut in half beneath me, unable to help but show a look of amazement and admiration. Zhang Liang. Did you see anything just now? Black sky. Young master, I was just too busy eating this black squid. No, I didn't pay attention. That's good. After a moment, as the thick ink gradually dissipated, the 3 members of the Black Earth were disheveled and clamoring to eat the black squid. Finally, when Zhang Liang beheaded 2 black octopuses in a row, he was stunned. Putting away the remains of 2 black octopuses, Zhang Liang said with a black face, "Let's retreat 50 miles. As soon as he came out, he used the green sword talisman. Apart from building a foundation and striking it, he had no security. How could Zhang Liang take any risks? More than an hour later, Zhang Liang retreated to a safe area and shouted to the 4 people in the dark sky, "I will mainly choose a secret place to shut down for 10.5 days and realize the gains of this battle. You 4 must not peep, and for the next few days, patrol 50 miles around. Do you understand?" Black Sea insisted, "Young master, we cannot leave you." Pop Zhang Liang learned from the culture of the Black Fish Department and slapped the head of the fish in the Black Sea, saying, "Fools, if you keep guarding me, wouldn't you tell others that the young master is here? How can I still shut up?" Black Sea was slapped, and not only did he not get angry, but he flattered and smiled, "Young master, you are wise. Go, go, go." After it was confirmed that the 4 of them had left, Zhang Liang crawled into a coral thicket and the divine mirror of the realm appeared in his hand. With just one swipe of the ground, he disappeared into this underwater area. Chapter 8. Sailing out to the sea, Spirit Shrimp explodes the net. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Who? Finally back. Looking at the familiar cabin, Zhang Liangchang breathed a sigh of relief. These past few days have completely exceeded Zhang Liang's expectations. He has become a master of black fish and a descendant of wise men. It is unimaginable that his loser has also had followers. But these days, I still don't want to go back. Who knows if the escaped black squid will call someone back for revenge. After waiting for 10 days and a half, if one finds that the 4 armies of heaven, earth, and Xianhai have been completely destroyed after returning, then one should return to the Black Fish Department. If they are still there, it means that the Black Ukrainian Ministry is not taking this very seriously. At this moment, in the cabin, Zhang Liang's heart suddenly turned into a 3-meter-long black fish, even he himself was startled. Sure enough, even if I come back, I can still transform into a fish. Zhang Liang quickly changed back, stopped using the swallowing sea technique, and immediately activated the cultivation technique, heavenly wave technique, which is the fundamental technique in the cultivation world. Among 1,000 fishermen, at least 500 to 600 people have all achieved the heavenly wave skill. As soon as Zhang Liang operated the heavenly wave technique, he immediately felt a special chi mechanism different from spiritual energy. In this chi machine, there is a slight sense of fishiness and ferocity, which is completely different from the spiritual energy of cultivators, appearing indifferent to the dust. Demon breath. Zhang Liang's heart sank. It seemed that he needed to be more careful when traveling between the two realms in the future. Never bring the demonic and immortal aura onto the other side. Fortunately, I react quickly, so this demonic aura is not much, and it won't take long to dissipate. Outside the house. The moon is bright and the stars are sparse, and the sea breeze blows. Zhang Liang crushed some dried fish and threw them into the pond at the entrance to feed spiritual insects. Then he sat cross-legged in the hall of the house, practicing heavenly wave skill while waiting for the faint demonic energy to dissipate. In the morning, the rising sun brings purple energy to the east. A ray of light shone through the open door and onto Zhang Liang's face. After exhaling a mouthful of turbid air, Zhang Liang opened his eyes and said, "Is it my illusion? Why does it feel like the barrier to promotion to the middle stage of Qi training is gone?" Zhang Liang is just a second-level spiritual root, and every time he uses his techniques, he will feel sluggish. So, he needs to spend twice as much time practicing as others to achieve the same effect. However, during his practice today, he felt that the stagnant feeling had disappeared. At the same time, I also vaguely felt the threshold of the 4 levels of Qi cultivation, which seemed unrelated to narrowness. This forced Zhang Liang to guess whether the physical breakthrough of the black fish body had affected the cultivation process of the human form. Unfortunately, he cannot be certain yet, and can only be slightly more certain when attempting to break through the initial stage of Qi cultivation. The fishing and farming residential area is filled with smoke from the kitchen. Most fishermen and farmers have already woken up or risen from their cultivation to start cooking. Later, some people will go fishing along the coast, some will set up nets along the sea, those who have not paid fish taxes, and some will choose to go out to sea. In fact, there are not many fishermen going out to sea every day because the sea is truly dangerous. Going twice a month is already considered frequent. The group of people who go out to sea every 3 to 5 days are mostly the peak of their mid-Qi training. As for the later stage of Qi cultivation, currently only 2 or 3 Xiannong have appeared, which is rare. These people have become confidants of the Qingfeng Island Lord and do not need to go out to sea. Qingfeng Shipyard. Zhang Liang greeted the property manager and said, "Property manager, I'm here to register for going abroad." Yo. Zhang Xiaoyu has been very energetic lately. He just went out to sea again in just 3 or 4 days, much stronger than those guys who don't want to make progress. There's nothing I can do about it. Last time I went out to sea and visited the local market, I actually lost 5 spirit coins. There's nothing I can do, my family can't afford it anymore. What if I don't go out to sea? Hey, don't cry about poverty for your uncle every day, go out to sea more, earn more, fate is all about fighting. The property manager registered Zhang Liang and looked at him as he drove the boat away. He sneered, "Young man, that's bravery. If possible, Zhang Liang certainly doesn't want to go out to sea. However, if you want to sell the black squid you have hunted yourself, there must be a source. Otherwise, if you rashly go to Qingfeng Immortal Workshop to sell, you won't be able to explain it clearly." Offshore. Zhang Liang circled the sea today, with a clear sky and slight waves. He skillfully hung spiritual insects and fish bait on the hook rope of the Dharma boat. Although he pretended to go out to sea, if he could easily catch some fish, Zhang Liang naturally wouldn't refuse. Moreover, he, who is now practicing twice, has also gained some confidence. Wow, Zhang Liang had just let go of the hook rope for just a moment when he realized that the hook rope was being pulled, but the amplitude of the pull was so small. Why is it so small? Even if it's not a ferocious beast, just an ordinary fish, the range should be much larger than this. Is it a spirit shrimp? Based on 3 years of experience going out to sea, Zhang Liang judged that there should have been a spirit shrimp catching the bait. Ling shrimp is a non-aggressive shrimp and is the bottom layer marine organism in Xianhai. Although the spirit paste of the spirit shrimp is worth some money, 1 or 2 is not very meaningful, so Zhang Liang was not in a hurry to collect the rope. However, as time passed, the speed at which the hook rope was pulled became faster and faster. Zhang Liang thought that a big fish had hooked him, so he no longer hesitated and immediately withdrew the hook rope. Brushing with the recycling of the hook and rope, Zhang Liang quickly harvested a palm-sized, translucent shrimp like spirit shrimp. Then, one after another, when Zhang Liang caught more than 20 spirit shrimp, he felt something was wrong. Did I encounter a shrimp swarm? Zhang Liang suddenly felt a sense of joy, as shrimp herds were not common. A small amount of spirit shrimp is not valuable, but a large amount of spirit shrimp is valuable. Taking its shrimp paste can extract spiritual essence. Extracting its shrimp thread and grinding it can also be used to draw talismans. Eating shrimp meat can also assist in cultivation. Zhang Liang was overjoyed. Soon, when the hook rope was fully recovered, a total of 36 spirit shrimp were caught. Good guy, it's all spiritual shrimp, not a single fish. This is the nearshore area, and the danger is relatively small. Since encountering a group of spirit shrimp, even if there are ferocious beasts, they will only catch spirit shrimp and not bite their own hooks. Zhang Liang looked around and saw that Qingfeng Island was very large, and fishermen and farmers had their own preferences for going out to sea. So the probability of encountering fishermen on the way is not really high. Seeing that there was no boat around, Zhang Liang had a bold idea and immediately anchored the boat, then jumped into the sea. Under normal circumstances, shallow sea hunting is particularly unwise. Because there are too many creatures in the Immortal Sea, and there are also too many aggressive ones. But Zhang Liang is not an ordinary person. As soon as he entered the sea, Zhang Liang immediately used the swallowing method and transformed into a large black fish over 3 meters long. Since he was promoted to the second level of physical training, his body has skyrocketed by 1 meter, looking quite majestic. Gollum. Zhang Liang spat out a string of bubbles. The sea was swaying, but Zhang Liang had a clear view. In the nearshore area, although the water was not deep, it was still about 30 to 40 meters. The seabed is flat, with swaying algae and scattered rocks, covered in various fragments of shells. There are also large clams opening their mouths and snails crawling around. Zhang Liang saw many scattered spirit shrimp, fleeing everywhere. Not far away, there is actually a group of spiritual shrimp, and there are quite a few. Spiritual shrimp have the ability to attract spirits, and the shrimp swarm gathers like a vast expanse of pure spiritual energy. In addition to shrimp herds, Zhang Liang also found that there are many fish swimming on the seabed, with green crabs feeding on spiritual shrimp, and the seawater is also covered with shells of spiritual shrimp. Good guy. Zhang Liang was shocked to find that the fundamental reason for not catching anything was probably because these fish and crabs were already full. It seems that by now, the group of spirit shrimp has not been able to meet for a while. Zhang Liang was overjoyed in his heart. He saw a black fish wagging its tail, unleashing a frenzied secret technique and traveling at lightning speed. This was the talent of the black fish spirit, and its explosive power was terrifying in an instant. A sea monster with a dual body refining ability, attacking these non-level spirit shrimp. If you can't catch them all, it's better to kill them with one head. Brush. At the moment when Zhang Liang rushed into the shrimp swarm, the fish's mouth opened and a green snake net spewed out from its mouth, suddenly opening up. Hula. Suddenly, a patch of spiritual shrimp fell into the net. After a moment, Zhang Liang dragged a net of spiritual shrimp onto the Dharma boat, with a bright smile on his face. This net caught nearly 100 spirit shrimp, which can sell 10 spirit stones at a high price. Pu Tong put the spirit shrimp into the storage bag, and Zhang Liang jumps into the sea again. 1 hour later. Zhang Liang has filled the storage bag and captured over 500 spirit shrimp. Unfortunately, the storage bag still contains 2 black squid, otherwise even a half-sized storage bag could hold over 1,000 spirit shrimp. Yu reading www.yuukangshu.net. No, how could there be such a large number of spirit shrimp? Zhang Liang pondered for a moment, manipulated the magic boat, and went several times to investigate. As a result, there were shrimp schools nearby. Is it the migration of spirit shrimp? The migration of spirit shrimp, as the name suggests, is a rare situation where a large number of spirit shrimp return to lay eggs. But once it appears, it is the harvest season for fishermen. But correspondingly, the price of spirit shrimp will be quickly suppressed, so he must hurry back and sell the spirit shrimp as soon as possible. Because the emergence of a group of spirit shrimp is definitely large-scale and cannot be discovered alone. So, within half a day, some fishermen will return to sell shrimp, and the fishermen on Qingfeng Island will inevitably boil. However, none of the fishermen can be faster than themselves. Because I am directly attacking the shrimp group, others can only catch them through hooks, ropes, and nets, and the catching speed is definitely 5 or even 10 times slower than myself. Half an hour later, Zhang Liang returned and made a few polite remarks to the property manager before entering the Qingfeng Immortal Archway. Lingxian Tower. The shopkeeper he is doing business and has sold 1 green sword talisman and 5 small thunder talismans, happily. Seeing Zhang Liang as calm as water, as if strolling by, manager he raised his eyebrows slightly and bid the guest farewell. Then he looked at Zhang Liang and said, although you are very calm, your eyes are very hot. Take a look. What big deal has happened today? Zhang Liang frowned slightly. Indeed, he was still too young to be easily seen through. It seemed that he needed to train his gaze in the future. Zhang Liang smiled slightly and said, I made some spirit shrimp. Oh, I thought it was something, just a little spiritual shrimp. It's so easy for you to come into my spiritual ferry. 500. Manager he. Chapter 9. The Migration of Spirit Shrimp. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhang Liang, come, please come inside. The shopkeeper who was indifferent just now, welcomed Zhang Liang into the inner room with a smile and a spring breeze on his face. The shopkeeper, he said, has the spirit shrimp migrated. Jiang is still old and spicy. Zhang Liang cannot hide this matter. If he wants to take action at once, it will inevitably arouse suspicion. With the experience of an old fox like shopkeeper it is impossible to guess the migration of the spirit shrimp. Zhang Liang nodded and said, Manager, he has a keen eye like a torch. It is indeed the migration of spiritual shrimp. TSK. Since the spirit shrimp is migrating, this spirit shrimp is not the same price as before. If I wait a little longer, the price of spirit shrimp may drop significantly. How about counting you 1 spirit coin and 2? Zhang Liang's mouth twitched. Before, it used to be 1 spirit coin, but did this old guy really chop half of it? However, Zhang Liang knew that shopkeeper he would hold down the price. He immediately said, Shopkeeper your Lingxian mansion is all over the 1,000 islands, and you can exchange what you need. Our Qingfeng Island is a migration of Lingxian shrimp, but there is no other island. Even if you pay the original price, you will only make a profit. Moreover, I know that there is a dense population of Lingxian shrimp. Of course, you can decide the exact price. Manager he chuckled and said, since that's the case, a 7-cent spirit coin is already a high price. There are over 1,000 fishermen on Qingfeng Island, and there will be plenty of spirit shrimp sooner or later. But Zhang Xiaoyu was the first to come and informed me in advance, and I can't help but sell this face. Okay. In the cultivation world, 10 spirit coins can be used to offset 1 inferior spirit stone, and theoretically, spirit coins are the smallest unit. But if we insist on dividing it downwards, we can also convert spirit coins into 10, but there is no specific physical currency. Zhang Liang finally took out 522 spirit shrimp, totaling 35 spirit stones, which is his largest harvest so far. Manager he said, if you have nothing to do, I will go prepare and collect the spirit shrimp. Shopkeeper wait a moment. But seeing Zhang Liang hesitating, he pulled out a black squid that was over 2 meters long and said, Shopkeeper this is a first-level intermediate level sea demon. I feel the demonic aura. Take a look, how much is the price? In the realm of cultivation, at least on Qingfeng Island, people classify sea demons and ferocious beasts into different levels. There is still a certain difference between the title and the sea monster's own name. Oh. Sea monster. Shopkeeper suddenly became interested and quickly came forward to identify it. He couldn't help but wonder, it is indeed a sea demon, or a sea demon that can transform. It was cut by the green sword talisman, and the ink bag is intact with sufficient ink volume. TSK, you are amazing. Zhang Conscience said, I poured 2 ink bags together, of course it's sufficient. The most valuable thing for squid-like creatures, whether they are sea monsters or ferocious beasts, is ink bags. This item is a talisman-making spiritual object, with high value. Shopkeeper exclaimed, no wonder you discovered this demon last time and only took action today. I don't want to deceive you either. This ink bag is indeed good. With just this item, it can be worth 40 spirit stones. The rest is not very valuable. The squid bone, rare essence and blood, 2 squid eyes, and this huge body add up to 15 spirit stones for you. You can't have more. Okay. Zhang Liang didn't bargain, he agreed with a single bite. But now with a huge sum of 90 spirit stones, he dare not leave the market at will. This money is hot to hold and needs to be spent. I only heard Zhang Liang say, Manager I want to buy some magic tools, spiritual talismans, or pills. Manager smiled and said, of course you can. Tell me about your requirements. Zhang Liang said, I want 5 green sword talismans and 10 little thunder talismans. Manager nodded slightly and said, 25 spirit stones. Zhang Liang said, I want to buy a magical artifact spiritual robe. Manager said, our store has a mid-range magical weapon called Sea Cicada Clothes, which can withstand several power attacks during mid-chi training. If it reaches its peak during mid-chi training, it also has a certain protective effect. Moreover, the clothing is not wet and can avoid knives and guns, block fish scales. It is priced at 30 spirit stones. Zhang Liang nodded. He had already wanted a sea cicada robe, but he didn't have any money before. Zhang Liang. I need 2 bottles of spiritual liquid. Can you make it cheaper? The so-called spiritual liquid is the liquid that transforms spiritual energy and can provide a large amount of spiritual energy in a short period of time to assist in cultivation. Usually used during clearance. Manager chuckled and said, 20 spirit stones. Zhang Liang actually has a lot of things he wants, such as attack-type spiritual tools, healing potions, and attack spells. Unfortunately, his funds are really limited. Finally, Zhang Liang sighed and said, I want a storage bag that is square in size. Manager smiled and said, 10 spirit stones. Zhang Liang looked eagerly at Shopkeeper and said, Shopkeeper can it be considered cheaper? I also want to upgrade to Qingxi Net next door. Shopkeeper nodded slightly and said, I'll let you owe you 5 spirit stones for now, and I'll make up for them later. 10 spirit stones are enough to elevate your green snake net to a mid-level magical tool. Coming out of the Spirit Immortal Tower, Zhang Liangchang breathed a sigh of relief. Although all the spirit stones had been spent, he was happy. I bought too many things that I didn't have money to buy before. Moreover, with a large number of green sword talismans and small thunder talismans in hand, even those with intentions would never dare to act rashly. The key is to purchase spiritual liquid, and then you can try to sprint through the 4 layers of chi cultivation. If the bottleneck really disappears, then today is the day for promotion. 1 hour later. Before Zhang Liang could leave the Qingfeng Immortal Temple, he saw a middle-aged man hurriedly walking towards the Spirit Immortal Tower. Did anyone come back so soon? Zhang Liang still underestimated these fishermen, perhaps others have also discovered the migration of spirit shrimp. If they arrive late, they may be undervalued. Unfortunately, no matter how fast you come back, it's impossible for you to be faster than me. Sure enough, I soon saw the middle-aged man at the entrance of the Spirit Immortal Tower, his face turning red and saying, "Why do you want me to sell at half price, without suppressing the price like this? Just over 200, love to sell or not?" Manager, he didn't even leave the door, his voice was icy. Zhang's refining workshop. A man is forging a magic sword, while in front of Zhang Liang, a beautiful woman is weaving a green snake net for him. This is a couple's refining room, which almost covers half of the refining business on Qingfeng Island. The boss's surname is Zhang and his first name is Zhang Wanquan. This beautiful woman is naturally his wife, named Chen Yuan. Chen Yuan said, "Little friend Zhang Liang, do you know what item has been discounted at half price?" Zhang Liang smiled and said, "It's a spirit shrimp. This matter will spread soon, so Zhang Liang doesn't mind telling others." Chen Yuan smiled and said, "It seems that Zhang Liang has sold a lot of spiritual shrimp. Otherwise, why wouldn't he be so overpriced? I'm afraid the price will be lower later." Zhang Wanquan, who was refining magical tools, said without looking up. Chen Yuan nodded slightly and said, "I'm just a little curious. It's only been 5 years since the last migration of the spirit shrimp. In theory, it's not yet time for the migration of the spirit shrimp." Zhang Liang couldn't help but be slightly stunned and said, "How often does this spirit shrimp usually migrate?" Chen Yuan looked up and smiled, "It's normal for you to be young and not understand this pattern. The migration of spirit shrimp occurs once every 7 years. Of course, this pattern may change now. 5 years ago." Zhang Liang followed his memory. At that time, his predecessor had only just practiced the second level of qi, and the island was indeed bustling for a while. The parents of their predecessors also did not return after going out to sea that year. Recalling the past, Zhang Liang felt a bit dull in his heart, but he didn't pay much attention. At this moment, Zhang Wanquan suddenly snorted coldly, "Wife, we cannot participate in this matter. Don't forget how Old Li died back then." Old Li. Zhang Liang's heart twitched. Old Li, this title seems to have some impression. Wait, Lao Li, isn't Lao Li the steward of Qingfeng shipyard? It is said that this person was appreciated by the lord of Qingfeng Island and transferred to his side. But according to Zhang Wanquan, is this person dead? A moment later, at the Qingfeng dockyard, the property manager was lying on a rocking chair, holding a teapot in his hand and enjoying his tea. "Housing management matters, I need to register for going abroad." The property manager opened one eye and Yu looked at the book www.yuukeungshu.net with a puzzled voice. "Huh? Didn't you just come back? Why are you going abroad again?" The property manager realized something was wrong and immediately sat upright. As soon as Zhang Liang returned, he plunged into the Qingfeng Immortal Mansion. In less than 2 hours, he had to go out to sea again. "Is it reasonable?" The property manager said leisurely, "Zhang Xiaoyu, have you found a good place to sell goods in Xianhai?" Zhang Liang pretended to be honest and said, "Housing management, the spirit shrimp has migrated. I need to go catch the spirit shrimp quickly." Puff, the housekeeper took a sip of tea and stood up in shock, "The migration of the spirit shrimp. Really?" Zhang Liang nodded seriously and said, "Housing manager, not many people know this news yet. Besides those who have already gone out to sea, you are the second shopkeeper to know." "Really?" The housing manager's voice changed when he was aroused. "If you are the second one to learn the news, then use the migration of the spirit shrimp as intelligence, quickly notify the outside world, and finally deduct some." The property management only felt the rolling spirit stones rushing towards them. On the surface, the property manager laughed and patted Zhang Liang's shoulder, saying, "Uncle knows you're sensible. In this way, in the future, your child's fish tax will definitely not add an extra spirit coin. Spirit shrimp migration, go quickly, go quickly. After Zhang Liang drove the boat away, the property manager sneered and said, "Stupid kid, you don't even know what you missed." On top of the boat, Zhang Liang smiled and said, old house, you can be a demon. If you dare to intervene in such things, you will be a relative of the island lord, and he may not be able to tolerate you either. The property management of Qingfeng shipyard has been going on for too long, and after years of fidgeting, it's hard to stop. But what does this have to do with Zhang Liang?